Hi guys, it's Mina. So today in this video I'm going to do a movie review because I haven't done one since Halloween, and since today's Walt Disney's birthday, which is December 5th. So happy birthday, Walt Disney. You were a wonderful filmmaker and I love your movies. They're awesome. I wish you were still around to see how they're being made today, because they're still just as wonderful as when you made them when you were alive. So, since today's Walt Disney birthday, I thought why not honor him by doing a movie review on the second film he ever made, which was Pinocchio. So, Pinocchio is based off of a weird book about this puppet named Pinocchio, obviously, who is voiced by Dickie Jones, and he is aided by this cricket named Jiminy, voiced by Cliff Edwards, who tries to teach him right and wrong, and then they go through all these like obstacles of right and wrong which take them on an adventure of learning about life and making good choices. Okay, so to start off, I love Pinocchio. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, even though I do have a couple things I don't like about it, and this is mentioned in a few of my videos. It's mentioned in my top 10 most adorable movies. My top 10 movies I have ups and downs with, and a couple more, and when I figure more, and I will link them all in the description box down below. And one thing, what I like about it is the story, the characters, and the songs, and the animation. It's just amazing. This is just an amazing film that was made in the 40s. And next I'm going to talk about the director. This is directed by Ben Sharpstein, and Ben Sharpstein, I'm familiar with him directing Dumbo, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. And this was also directed by Hamilton Luske, and Hamilton Luske directed a lot of movies that I've seen, like Fantasia, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, which a lot of you guys know if you watch my channel is my least favorite Disney movie, Lady and the Tramp, 101 Dalmatians, and Mary Poppins. Next I'm going to talk about the characters. I really like Pinocchio because I like how he's so adorable, like he's gullible, like he's kind of gullible, like he doesn't understand that not everybody's good, he's nice and caring like they may seem, and helpful. And I like how he learns from his mistakes, like he learns the difference between right and wrong and what is good and what is bad. And I like that he does everything, that even though he makes mistakes, he does everything he can to make up for it to prove himself good to become a real boy. I really like that. And he's voiced by Dickie Jones, and Dickie Jones, I'm not familiar with him in anything else but this movie. Next I'm going to talk about Jiminy Cricket. I really like Jiminy Cricket because I like that he cares for Pinocchio and is kind of a father figure towards him, and he does everything he can to take care of him and make sure he's okay and make sure he does right, and I really like that about him. And he's voiced by Cliff Edwards, and Cliff Edwards I recognize as Jim Crow from Dumbo. Next I'm going to talk about Geppetto. Geppetto is like the person who carved and made Pinocchio. I like that he wishes Pinocchio was a real boy because he's kind of lonely. Even though he has his pet cat and pet fish, he still wants like a family member and someone to care for, like a son. And I really like that. And he's voiced by Christian Rubb, and Christian Rubb, I'm not familiar with him in anything else but this movie. Next I'm going to talk about Honest John. I don't like him because I hate that he tricks Pinocchio into thinking that skipping school and going into the theater is right, when it actually is not right. It's really wrong to skip school to just go to a theater or to become an actor, because you need to be like smart and smart and learn stuff. Like you need to learn to write, you need to learn math, you need to learn history and stuff like that, cultures. It's just a good thing. And he's voiced by Walter Catlett. Walter Catlett, I am not familiar with him in anything else but this movie. Next I'm going to talk about Gideon. I really find Gideon pretty funny because he makes a lot of mistakes, even though he doesn't talk as much. really talk. All he does is just hiccup. It's pretty funny. I like how he's like on Honest John's side and just sticks with him all the time. And he's not very bright, which is pretty funny. And he has like nobody, I think, voicing him. I assume Walt Disney's doing his hiccuping and stuff, but that's all I can like think of for him. Next I'm going to talk about the Blue Fairy. I like the Blue Fairy because I like how she explains to Pinocchio how that he can be rewarded with becoming a real boy by doing good. And I like that she, I love that she wants to make sure she's okay. Like, she pops in and checks up on him and helps him and makes sure he does the right thing. And she's voiced by Evelyn Venable. And Evelyn Venable, I'm not familiar with her in anything else but this movie. Next, I'm going to talk about Stromboli. I don't like Stromboli because he doesn't treat his puppets very well. He uses them until they're too old to perform, and he takes advantage of them by using them until they're too old to perform, and then he just cuts them up into firewood. And I hate how he like kidnaps Pinocchio and he locks him in a cage and tries to keep him until he grows old to perform. I really hate how he does that to Pinocchio. It really scares me. And he's voiced by Charles Juddles, and Charles Juddles, I'm not familiar with him in anything else but this movie. Next, I'm going to talk about the Coachman. The Coachman really scares me. I don't like him because I don't like the way that he kidnaps little boys and then turns them into donkeys so he can sell them and make money. It's like an awful thing. It's so dark. It really scares me. It's like one scene I always cover my eyes whenever I watch this movie. And he's voiced by Charles Juddles as well. And Charles, like I said before, Charles Juddles, I'm not familiar with him in anything else but this movie. Next, I'm going to talk about Lampwick. So Lampwick is like a boy that Pinocchio befriends, but he ends up making bad choices. I don't like Lampwick because Pinocchio befriends him, and they both end up doing like really things that boys shouldn't be doing at a young age, like drinking and smoking and playing pool. That's horrible. I hate that he's not very rude and disrespectful, and I also hate that he's not very bright. And he's voiced by Frank Darrow, and Frank Darrow I'm not familiar with him in anything else but this movie. Next, I'm going to talk about the setting. This takes place in like a really old time in Italy, it looks like, and I thought it took place in Sweden at first because of the clothing, because they wear like the same clothing that they wear in Sweden, and the same clothing that they wear in Sweden, honestly. Anyway, I like the setting of Italy. It takes like a place in a really old time in Italy, I think before lanterns were made, and way before way before electricity was invented, and way before washing machines were invented. That's it. It was really cool. I really like it. It's like an old time town. It's really cool. It's not Middle Ages. I'm not sure what era it is, but they're all wearing like looks like they're wearing Swedish overalls, like in Sweden, Switzerland, like it looks like they're wearing like the overalls that they wore like in old Sweden or Switzerland or whatever. It looks pretty cool. Well, but I'm not too sure what era it takes place in. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. Next, I'm going to talk about the songs. I really like the songs in Pinocchio. I like When You Wish Upon a Star. I have to admit, Cliff Edwards has a really good voice. I honestly thought somebody else was singing his voice, but it's actually Cliff Edwards. And I really like it. It sounds really good. Next, I'm going to talk about Little Wooden Head. This talks about, like, Geppetto playing around with Pinocchio and testing him out. And how happy he is to have finished his puppet Pinocchio. Next, I'm going to talk about Give a Little Whistle. I really love this song. This is one of my favorite songs from Pinocchio. And I like this song because it tells Pinocchio that Jiminy will help him if he just whistles. So that's a great way to call people. And this is sung by Pinocchio and Jiminy. I like Hi Diddly Dee because it talks about like life being an actor and how you can be famous and you can have fortune, have money because of your acting. It's pretty cool. Cool, and this is sung by Honest John. Next one is I've Got No Strings, because it talks about how Pinocchio is free to move around as he pleases because he's not controlled by strings at all. Which is pretty awesome. And the music to this song is pretty catchy, and this is sung by Pinocchio. Next I'm going to talk about Hi Diddly Dee Reprise. This is also sung by Honest John, and this is when Pinocchio is tricked into going to Pleasure Island. Next part is When You Wish Upon a Star Reprise. This is like sung by Jiminy Cricket and talking about how wishes actually do come true when you wish upon a star. I really like that. Okay, so I would recommend Pinocchio to anybody who likes cutesy stuff because this is a pretty adorable movie. And I would also recommend it to those who like the story, who are familiar with the original story of Pinocchio, if you like it because it's always good to watch different versions of a good story. And this is a pretty good story. And I'd also recommend it who likes cute characters because this movie does have some pretty adorable characters and this is such a good story. And if you like cute kids version, because this is like a very safe kids version of Pinocchio for little kids. Okay, so that was my review on Pinocchio. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any requests, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!